Hello drawing students. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to draw a simple eye using shapes. I'm going to have another video linked to the bottom of this lesson if you would like to follow along with a YouTube artist that has the handle Rapid Fire if you would like to draw a more realistic eye. Alright, remember in this tutorial to pause the video so you can draw along with me and turn your drawing in for a project grade. Alright, so we're going to start by drawing a football shape like this. So if yours isn't perfect, that's okay. Just try to draw it the best you can. Then, so this eye can be looking a little more like an eye and less like a football. We're going to take some of the sides. I'm going to cut it off right here. I'm going to cut the bottom part off right here, okay? So I cut this part off and I cut this part off. And now I'm going to draw a little circle right here on the edge, right here. Don't forget to pause the video if I'm going too fast. Now that we've cut that off and this part off and drawn our shape, I can come in here and sketch the outline of my eye like that. Then I can erase my guidelines. And now that football shape is looking a little more like an eye. Now don't forget, this is just a generic way to draw an eye. If I was looking at somebody, I would want to make sure I had it looking at their eye and looking at the shape of their eye. Now, we all know an eye is not flat. It is a round eyeball. There's an eyeball in there. Okay, like there. So, I want to make sure that I have the sides of this circle where the eyeball is right around here. And this area here is that kind of like pink area, the tear duct area right in here, okay? So if I were to be drawing this circle, it would go all the way around and all the way around here, okay? Next, I want to draw the iris of the eye and the pupil. So, well, before I do that, let's go ahead and do our waterline. So right here, there's a little piece of skin. It's about right here, right under the eye. This is where it's a waterline. It's where some people put eyeliner, if they're girls or whoever. And there's actually one right here at the top. You can't see this one as much, but you could put that one in there as well. Next, I'm going to draw my iris and my pupil. So usually if someone's looking right at you, the eye is about right in here, depending. So I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit. And I'll draw my circle there. All right, and then I can go ahead and erase this area here. All right. Now eyelids, they can also be very different depending on who you're drawing. Some people's eyelids are hooded, some people's eyelids are barely right there, and some people have high eyelids. But right where that eye, if you were to draw that circle in that eye, that's where it's kind of safe to put the eyeline. This pencil. I'm just going to put my eyelid right there. That way this person can blink. Just depends on who you're drawing where that line goes. And honestly, if you look really close in the mirror, you'll see there's another little line right in the bottom. I don't like to draw that one. I like to add that one when I'm shading it. So I'm going to go ahead and erase those guidelines there. All right, so that is an easy way to get an eye drawn. So let's go ahead and shade it in. So eyes are definitely wet, so we need to make sure that we have a sparkle in the eye. So this part of the eye is shaded in. I'm going to get another pencil because this pencil is not working right. All right, so now I'm not going for a super realistic eye, but I'm going to show you guys how to draw this part of the eye to where it looks semi-realistic using an easy method. So to do this, what I do is I kind of just divide this part of the eye up. So I just drew a line in the middle here, here, and then I divided those spaces. Then I'm going to go ahead and divide these spaces a little bit. And now I'm going to draw little flower petals. Where I have those marks. On most people, this edge of the eye is darker. Now, depending on the color of the eye, would be if we're shading it with pencil, that would be how dark we shade it. The lighter would be like blue eyes, medium would be brown eyes, and really dark. Shaded it dark, it would be darker eyes, darker brown. So I'm going to come in here where these little petals didn't reach the very bottom, these little triangles in here, and I'm going to shade this part in. So I can't see the top. I'm going to make sure this is nice. And then after that's shaded in, I'm going to put a little wiggly mark, just kind of wiggly marks around the pupil. And I'm going to shade that in just lightly. It's like it's an egg shape, kind of. Then, after I shade that in lightly, I'm going to go around the edges and I'm just going to do zigzag, just going back and forth, zigzagging. So it's not really shading because you can see some lines in there. And zigzag around that. Then I'm going to go in after I've gone around the edge and just kind of put some more lines, some random lines. Now the eyelid up here makes a shadow because this eyelashes cast a shadow here. So I'm just going to shade this top part in a little bit darker. And then I'm going to add a little more shading to this side. And then where I don't want it, where I want it to be a highlight, I'm going to leave it alone. And I'm just going to come in here and shade it. So this again is very generic, but it's just an easy way to draw an eye. And if you accidentally went a little bit too dark with your shadows, you can always get an eraser and come back and add some more highlights. All right, so the inside of the eye, even though it appears to be white, it is a sphere and it's not white. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to shade all the way over here, even where that water line is. And I'm just going to shade a little bit of the edges of the eye here. And I'm going to shade it on this side here. Now I'm going fast, so this tutorial doesn't take an hour, but if you want to take your time, go for it. Just going to shade around the edges. And I know you're saying, oh my gosh, the eye looks gray, but it's not white. And there are shadows there. And again, you can always, if you feel like you went too dark, you can always get your eraser. If you want to add a little highlight, you could go back and get your eraser. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is the lashes. Now depending, so I'm just going to darken this top line up where the lashes are going to go. This is where you could put eyeliner on if you wanted to. Now when you're doing lashes, you don't want to do like lashes like this or like that. When you're doing the lashes, you want to, you can start off like this, but we're going to end up making the edges into little triangles like this. Okay, so make sure you're feathering them. So I'm going to come across here and I'm just going to put a lash in there, one there. Now you can look at your own lashes if you want to, and it just kind of depends. So I put them like, I don't put them really close together. Now I'm going to come in here and just put maybe one more set where I feel like the lashes would be thicker. And then I'm going to go in here and make a medium size. So these aren't going to be as long. Now lashes can be a little hard for some people. Now once I'm kind of happy with the amount of lashes, then I can come in here and take my time, and I'm just going to make some little triangles kind of at the very edge, so that way they're not just like, almost like I'm clumping a few eyelashes up together. Now again, this is a generic eye, so if we were looking at someone, we could really just copy them. And once you're happy with the way that looks, then you can go back, and if you want to make the lashes a little thicker, you can just add a few more random. I got a lot of lashes on this one. You can add a little lashes, and I like to kind of shade the bottom of the lashes in here just to kind of blend it in just a little bit. And you'll do the same thing with the bottom of these lashes, but you're just going to go a little tinier, and it's right on that, just right below that little line you had there on the bottom part. And I'll just kind of clump these up too just a little bit. I'm not going to make the little triangles as obvious, but just got a little more shadow in there, like that. So the next thing we can do is the eyebrows. I'm just going to take the inside of the eye right here and the outside. And depending on who you're drawing will depend on how the eyebrows are going to look. But I'm just going to trace around the eye. And I'm just going really lightly because this is just where the hair is going to be. So you don't actually want that line to show. And then I'm going to fill this in with hair. So I'm going to take the bottom, just kind of build it up depending. And then I'm just going to shade it in very lightly because we don't want the white showing underneath. And then if I want to just kind of put a couple of loose hairs underneath that. Now if your line's showing, you probably want to erase it before you start doing this so you hardly see it. And then I'll put some kind of a couple of darker strands in there. So, I mean, just it kind of depends on what kind of eyebrows that you want. This person has some hairy eyebrows. All right, so we're not going to get into shading this eye, but this is a nice generic eye you can try. If this is too hard for you, just try your best and see what happens. And you could actually look at your own eye when you're doing this. And if you want to go back and shade around it, you can, because I mean, there would be a lot more shading in that as well around the eye to make it look more three-dimensional. All right, I'm looking forward to see how your eyes came out. And no matter what you turn in, I'm going to give you a grade because I grade on effort. All right, have a good day. Bye.